Shares of Salesforce have seen a sharp drop in the last 6 months as growth stalls and investors question whether it can thrive or struggle to adapt in this age of generative AI. But it is not the only company in the sector facing the AI issue. That is the topic of today's Tech Check with Deirdre Bosa as Dreamforce kicks off this week in San Francisco. Hey, Dee.
You know, Carl, I was flying in yesterday. The airport was busy, as it always is this time of the year when Dreamforce kicks off. But it's no longer Dreamforce. It's all about Agentforce now for Mark Benioff. That's his answer to the disruption that generative AI has cast over the cloud industry at large. Agentforce is a set of products capable of taking action on their own to automate existing CRM tools like customer service chatbots. And I've heard Benioff joke twice now over the last few weeks about changing the name of the entire company to Agentforce. That is how committed he is. Pretty much because he has to be. Rather than take part in the boom, Salesforce and other software companies have been left behind. Salesforce revenue is expected to grow less than 10% in its current fiscal year. That is a major slowing, as you can see, from the double-digit growth that it's enjoyed over the last decade plus. Now, other cloud names are under pressure too, like Snowflake, Workday, Atlassian, Adobe. Their customers now have to weigh their current subscriptions against spending on new Gen AI investments and tools. So longer term for investors, the question here might be existential, something that Klarna's CEO raised by saying that he is getting rid of Salesforce and Workday. It's this question: can Gen AI agents write software and commands internally, thus cutting out a third party like Salesforce? And that's exactly what Benioff seems to be trying to get ahead of. He says that, as he calls it, do-it-yourself AI. He says it's costly and ultimately unproductive. He says use Agentforce and the productivity gains are instant. He's also had no problem bashing Microsoft's Copilot along the way, saying that Agentforce will do what Copilot promised to do, but he says has not delivered. As we have found out, though, delivering returns on AI investments is tough for almost anyone in the space. Adobe's Firefly, that was meant to position Adobe as an innovator and leader in integrating Gen AI directly into its well-established suite of creative tools. But Gen AI native tools like OpenAI's DALL-E and Midjourney, they're platform agnostic and they're flexible, leading to its wide adoption. Salesforce likewise is facing increasing competition, guys, from Gen AI startup darlings like OpenAI and Anthropic that are pushing and building their own enterprise AI offerings. So Benioff has, no simple task this week. He's got to convince their many hundreds of thousands of customers that CRM will prepare them for a Gen AI world.
And there's also this idea, Deirdre, that because of the macroeconomic environment, enterprise spending slows down with traditional software, and instead that money is going toward AI. I wonder how much is that, and how much is the Salesforce competitive offerings that you laid out?
That's a huge part of it. For Salesforce, along with Workday and some of the other companies that I mentioned, deal time is taking longer to close. And the reason for that is because a lot of these companies are trying to figure out where they want to spend. If they want to spend on more, Gen AI native tools. Also, the other thing I want to mention is that Salesforce has a per-seat business model. So if you think that companies are getting more efficient around AI and they're able to reduce their workforces, those are less seats that they're going to have to pay for. Benioff addressed this last earnings too, pushing, a consumption-based product. But that's another challenge for the company and other ones, traditional SaaS models that have this per-seat model.
Yeah, we've talked about keeping your eye on headcount, that's for sure. Dee, fascinating setup, of course, for tonight. Do not miss an exclusive with Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, tonight on Mad Money at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.